We touched on border security. We are spending about 2.5 times more than last session on border security, the most ever, mainly for personnel, DPS officers working a 10-hour workday that is equivalent to 600 more officers around the state, money for the National Guard as needed by the governor. The biggest cornerstone of our property tax issue is 1760, Senate Bill 1760. For the first time, your local elected officials, city, county, and the other taxing districts in the area will have to make an affirmative vote to cast a vote to raise your taxes higher than they were the previous year. We put about $3 billion in additional money to schools. That's still nearly 47% of our total budget is school funding. We put in more money for health care, $50 million more for women's health care. That's about 33% of our budget. Public safety is 10%. So 90% of our budget is about half education, about a third health care, and about 10% public safety. If the voters approve SJR 5 in November, when they go to vote for the property tax relief, that will put money in the budget every year for roads, pay-as-you-go, something Senator Eltife has been talking about, not let's rack up debt. And that's what we've been doing for the last decade for roads. We're also finally ended the gas tax diversion, and so we're going to have money for transportation.
I tell you what, as his first session, he did an outstanding job as presiding officer of the Texas Senate. We ran smoothly, we ran efficiently, we ran on time, and I want to tell you, he let the senators do their job. He did a phenomenal job. The budget, outstanding budget. Did we get everything we wanted? No, but for once, we have leadership in Governor Patrick and Governor Abbott that are willing to admit the problems of this state, pension funds, roads, public education financing, debt, facilities. They've stepped forward and said, we understand we have problems and we're willing to fix them. And I'm so appreciative for his political courage and willing to step forward and work on the problems of the state.
Senator Eltife had one of the bills that kind of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere. He was very, very focused on it, and that was using the oil, cannabis oil for students with intractable epilepsy. And he came to me and I said, Senator, I said, we're never going to legalize, at least on my watch or our watch, marijuana in Texas. And we're really not going to expand medical marijuana. We don't have it now. But this was a different issue. This had anything to do with the marijuana plant. This was the oil from the cannabis oil to help these kids. And the testimony was just heartbreaking. We had families leaving the state of Texas because their children couldn't be treated. And I said to Senator, I said, run with it and see where the senators stand on it. And at the end of the day, that bill passed overwhelmingly in the Senate and House. And we were willing to be bold. That was a bold thing to do. Absolutely. And the public supported it as well. And so that was all his doing. So I'm glad he brought that forward. And whenever we talk about budgets, we always think about, well, how's it going to impact this issue or that policy or that agency or that program? My first thought is, how does it impact the average Texan, the taxpayers? We want local governments to hold their budgets at the same level the state does.
Governor Patrick and Senator Huffman are committed to working on that in the interim. Transportation's not finished. We've got to find more transportation dollars going forward. Facilities, we've got to work on facilities. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues that need to be dealt with in the interim, but I don't know how you could ask for us to accomplish any more than we did in the regular session.
I want to focus on what have become the biggest mental health facilities in the state and our jails. We need to help our counties on that issue. Indigent health care at the local level. It's very difficult for counties, and those are some big issues. The facilities, again, is very important, and a number of other issues. Always focus on education, always focus on health care. They're the biggest two budget drivers and biggest issues that impact the majority of Texans.